Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, for those who have seen my channel so far. Today I'll be talking about eBay and some of the tips that I would like to give you that would help you progress with a smoother transaction than any other. So if you keep listening, you'll figure out that there are a lot of important information that I could actually share with you that you would actually value during the course of buying and selling on eBay. I wouldn't go around clicking boxes and showing you stuff rather than talking to you with real experiences. So let me begin with saying that eBay is one of the safest places to shop. Yes, there is a caveat to that as well, because obviously with every transaction there is always a condition where you need to look carefully what you're buying, who you're buying from, and how is this transaction going to end. So say for example eBay, if you buy something from eBay and you've had a bit of experience, or someone has a bit of experience, there is very likely that they haven't done the groundwork before buying from eBay and they just dived in, and because they bought 50 items or 100 items before, that the 101 item they're going to buy would not go wrong, just because they haven't made that check of buying from eBay those things that they need to do. So say, first of all, eBay and PayPal are probably the best partners in terms of buying and selling on eBay, because the transaction is very much safe and there are two safety nets. First of all, we have the eBay money back guarantee program, and then we also have the PayPal money back guarantee program, or should I say the refund policy if you were to have experienced a problem with the transaction whereby eBay is unable to help you. Then PayPal will most likely help you only in cases they might not help you if there has been an honest mistake somewhere whereby PayPal believes that they cannot actually contribute their interest in that transaction for whatever reason that may be. But as far as eBay is concerned, it is still one of the best marketplaces to shop, and also to build a good portal of sellers, honest sellers, where you would be able to buy from them over and over again. And that's one of the key things, whereby if you buy from Facebook or Gumtree, or I don't know, wherever people start buying stuff from nowadays, wherever they see something online they'll buy it from, Spock, whatever. I mean, those transactions are ad hoc, one-off, and you won't want to go to them again, or you might not be able to go to them again because that was just a one-off purchase. But if you feel that you want to find yourself a place to shop online, and you want to just kind of keep that history of your purchases and all of that stuff that you can revisit again, then eBay is the place to be. I will give eBay 5 stars for all the hard work they do. Yeah, they do get scrutinized a lot of the time, whereby people make errors, or the transaction goes a bit pear-shaped, and then eBay gets the blame for it for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, let's be honest here. eBay cannot keep everybody happy. That's part of business, that nobody can be 100% happy. So there will be negatives, but this like with anything in life, you have to measure the risks and move forward. And once you've done your homework, you measure the risks, then you can say, well, I've done the best I could, let's just go ahead with it. Now, from buying from eBay, you have to understand that if you're buying a low value item, probably the risk is less. If you're buying a high value item, the risk is a lot greater and higher. And that's where you would try to figure out, well, should I buy from eBay? Should I buy from Amazon? Should I buy from an online retailer? And then it all boils down to price. because we all know that eBay will be able to give you far better price on a lot of the products, which you may not be able to find anywhere else, because a lot of the times a lot of sellers find their clearance items they want to just get rid of quickly. You would find eBay would be able to give you that marketplace to do that. If you find Amazon, for example, they are good. They have a higher percentage of fees, and I mean, you know, Amazon is good, no doubt about that. But eBay is more of a, you know, you can sell stuff one-off here and there, or you can, you know, continue selling on eBay if you feel that you wanna, you know, you find stuff in your house over and over again, where Amazon might, you know, might be a bit different that way. eBay have a lot more promotional offers coming along, which they value their customers, and they will give you, you know, a chance for less fee sometimes that you can sell for, which will benefit you and the buyer as well. Whereas Amazon might not be able to do that because they have a greater share in the market and they feel that what they do is right and it delivers what they, you know, what they do. But as far as eBay is concerned, once again, I am talking about eBay. I'm not talking about any other marketplace, and eBay is the place to be. So let's begin with the important parts. So say, for example, you find something on eBay. There are easy items, good items on eBay, and then there are items that are, you know, a bit more, should I say, risky. Say, for example, laptops, phones. What else should I say? Maybe watches, and a few other bits and pieces that, first of all, with laptops, I have read a lot of stories where people buy laptops and, you know, some of the times they don't get what they thought it was, and this, that, the other. I mean, having knowledge of what you're buying is very important. So if you're buying something and you're just diving into it, then you're going to be causing problems for yourself, believing that the other person who's selling it to you is probably selling the right item. There are a lot of the times where somebody wants to sell something for someone else or whatever, and then the person who's buying it thinks that he thought it was a good deal and it wasn't a good deal, and it starts to go a bit pear-shaped, and then, you know, the transaction goes a bit AWOL. Eventually you can return your item, you get your money back, there's no problem with that, as long as the value is less than £500. So going back to the item that you need to worry about when you're buying stuff from eBay. So I would say if you're buying stuff from less than £500, and also if it's, say, for example, I don't know, whatever you purchase, say, for example, if it's a phone or an audio video item or something like that, and if it is high value, try to always contact the seller direct first before bidding, and also contact them after bidding, and also allow a little bit of rapport to build up between the seller and yourself, just so you have this, you know, that contact with the seller, so you know that he or she exists and what kind of seller that may be, and you know what to expect, and you know, have a rough idea how it's going to be sent to you. If you feel that you've bought something which is most likely heavy or might get damaged in transit, then do alert the buyer to say, alert the seller to say that, look, can you please pack this well, and I will be able to, you know, pay extra or whatever. I don't know. Just make sure that you explain to the seller that, you know, this item has to be packed well before you receive it, and it shouldn't get damaged in transit. Now, a lot of the time what happens, the sellers sell something and they send it to you, and the packing is so poor that it gets damaged, and then basically the buyer says, oh, it got damaged, and the seller says, well, I sent it to you fine. Well, you know what, the seller didn't pack it well, and unfortunately the courier company that they used gets the blame for it. I have seen that a couple of times, and I always say that, look, the courier company you cannot blame, because their job is to get parcels from A to B. Yeah, they have thousands of parcels to deal with, so you can't just blame that, oh, my parcels got damaged because, you know, I sent it. Well, no, you have to make sure, put into account that you have at least, you know, 1 or 2 inches of space around the item, packed with bubble wrap around properly. If it's a very heavy item, then polystyrene should be used, or or do some sort of homework on how to pack an item properly before you send it. So yeah, that's one of the things. If you're buying an item, it's important to remember that the item has to be packed well and it doesn't get damaged. Also, if you're, for example, once again, it's the same logic that if you're buying, say for example, a phone, phones are more prone to, transactions can get a bit, depending who you're buying from, and it just depends who the seller is and what the product's like, because phones can be a bit risky a lot of the times, because I have seen where, even myself, when I bought a phone, after 6 months the phone just got blocked. You found out afterwards. Luckily in my case it was less than 6 months, so I actually contacted PayPal. PayPal actually contacted the seller, and the seller actually did sort of help us out in that case. Had it been over 6 months, then you have no leg to stand on it, things, and then you pretty much have a phone which is blocked. Because a lot of people do what they do, they're in contract, and sometimes they think, well, I've got a new phone, I don't want to use it, I might as well just get the money. So what they do is they get a phone in a contract and just try to sell it off, and sometimes they don't even use the phone, and they just keep the money and end up using a different phone. Or sometimes they just buy a phone, get a contract, and just not use it at all, and just sell the phone and get the money in. So yeah, I mean, I've seen this myself. So this is the reason why it's important to remember these things, that buying a phone is you need to do a lot of homework in terms of to make sure that when you buy a phone, especially I'm talking about phones here, is that you can make sure that the seller is made aware of, you want to ask for the receipt, proof of purchase. You want to ask how long it's been with you. You can ask the serial number of the phone. That can be done after the purchase as well. And don't make the payment until the questions have been answered. So the best part is that when you win something on eBay, or when you buy something on eBay and you think it might sell, you can buy it and don't pay, and ask all the questions if you feel that there is something that you want to clear before you pay the money, especially on high value items I'm talking about. Then that will definitely help. There are other areas whereby if you're selling something, for example, on eBay, and you don't know what to do in terms of how to list stuff and things, well, there are a few things that take into account if you're listing something, is that try to list something that ends in the evening, because that would get you more views, more audience, and better chance of selling something, rather than you listing something and then it ending up in a middle of the day where people are not around and they might not be able to pay for it or buy it or whatever. I mean, eBay do have a facility on eBay where you can actually schedule your listing. So once you schedule it, it'll start at a particular time or end at a particular time, and you have that. For that is exactly for that reason, so you can do that. Pictures are very important. So when you're listing something, make sure that you are listing a photograph, at least 5, 6, 7 photographs of the item, left, right, center, back, front, top, down, all of it, 360 degrees. And also tell them the weight of the item, the dimensions of the item, and tell them exactly what the item is and where it's located as well, if possible, so people know how far it's coming from. Maybe somebody might be living next to you and want to collect it, and stuff like that. If you're happy with people collecting your item from wherever you want, that's good too. And that's why eBay give you an option for collection only as well. What else? There are things such as buying computers, for example. If you're buying a computer online, once again, it's the same method that you check with the seller, make sure that they're selling you what they said they are, ask them how old it is, ask them how much it's been used, talk to them. Just don't go around just buying it because what it looks in the photograph. Make sure that you ask them that, is that the product you're going to get, or is it a different one? And all of this stuff, because if you end up buying something and it isn't what you thought it was, then it just takes a lot of time. That's what it is. You will get your money back, but it takes a lot of time. Sometimes it can even take over a month because of how the process works on eBay. So, and that's why people get annoyed. But let's be honest, the process works. They have thousands of transactions going through. They can't just resolve one transaction overnight. So they have to place it in a queue where it ticks over, and when the number comes, it falls through, and then they'll tell you that yes, you will get your money back, or they will send an alert to the seller to resolve it or whatever. But eBay are very active in communicating with the sellers or the buyers, depending on which side the error is, to resolve the matter, which is the reason why eBay is so successful, and they are always available to talk to you. Yeah, you can email them as well, or have a live chat conversation as well. The beauty of eBay is they will even call you back if you have the correct details. It's always important that you register the same address that you would like your items to be received. If you don't have that address, then you will cause a problem on the eBay system, and they may not guarantee your money back. So that's also quite important to remember. There are a lot of things that are, calculated at the time when you're purchasing something, and you need to make sure also. I'm just thinking of things as it's coming along. I'm not reading a script or anything, so I'm just as things are coming across to my mind, I'm talking about them right now. So say for example, you also need to make sure when you're buying a high value item, or in fact if you're buying any item, ideally high value I would say, is that check the feedback. Always check the feedback. If you're not checking the feedback, you're just going to go into a black hole yourself, because the feedback is the key entry for any transaction to look out for. If you have a lot of negatives, I mean 1 or 2 negatives is fine, because let's be honest, if you're selling thousands, there will be some unhappy customers for whatever reason. So that's can be ignored. But if you see that there are a lot of people, and see what the negatives are about, if somebody says that this item that they're selling is fake, then don't even touch that, don't even go near them. It's the fact that they are selling fakes for whatever reason. eBay do not entertain people selling fakes, but they have thousands and millions of sellers on eBay selling left, right and center. So they do police them. Every time you see something that you think is fake, just report it to eBay so they can actually take it off. But eBay, once again, is a safe marketplace for you to shop. Always try to pay by PayPal. Also, it's important to remember that if you do not have any funds in PayPal, PayPal will send out an e-check to the seller, which means it would take about 7 days to clear. An e-check is something that PayPal use. You may only get an e-check if you don't register a credit card. So quite importantly, you have to register 2 methods of payment on PayPal. One is your bank account, and the second is a credit card. The credit, if you don't have, say for example, the money that they request from your bank will take 7 days to clear, which is the reason why PayPal will actually allow you to buy the item using an e-check. And e-check will only be cleared, and then the item would be released to be posted to you. But if you have a credit card registered on PayPal, PayPal will use the credit card as a guaranteed payment, and then they would request the money funds from your bank. But if the bank doesn't clear your funds, they would charge the credit card, because they already reserved that money straight away from your credit card. So they always need that. And if you have a credit card, then they would not send an e-check to the seller. They would only send a straight payment through the seller, and then your payment would be cleared straight away. So that's another thing to remember, that if you're buying a lot of items on eBay and selling them, then you need to have a credit card registered. If you feel that you bought something, say for example a laptop for £450 or something, or dollars or whatever, and you feel that it was wrong, something went wrong with it, and you want to return it and buy another one, but you don't have the money, well, that's something that you always have to remember. That's why I always said that make sure that you buy the right item, because if you're buying the wrong item, or if you're buying an item that obviously the sale goes a bit sour, and it's not what you think it is, then it will be as if your money will be on hold until the refund is complete, and that's not going to be overnight. It will take 7 days, may take 14 days, may take a bit longer. Your money, once again, is safe. It takes time to come back. So you would always need to, use extra bit of cash to buy the other item and then wait for the money to come back into your account once the matter is settled or the buyer receives the item back. Also, it's always important to remember when you're returning an item as a buyer, you're returning it to make sure that the seller sends you a label, because that would then instigate the system to know that the item has been returned. Because if you're returning the item by yourself, then it's important to add the tracking number onto the system, or tell eBay, or take a photograph of the item that you're returning, and put it on the case. Open a case and do that. I mean, eBay have a very good system whereby if you have an item that you do not like or whatever, or something happened wrong with it or whatever, then just open a case and it runs smoothly. You can track it and eBay will track it for you, so it just doesn't get lost, you know, somewhere in the system. So that's one of the other things. So I've spoken to you about a lot of things here where you would understand and learn on how to shop and sell on eBay and buy on eBay to a degree. Selling, once again, depending on what type of goods you're selling on eBay, you can be selling, you know, say from anything. You can pretty much sell on eBay anything and everything, from a box, an empty box, to something that is worth thousands. It just depends what you want to sell. It's always important to know your customers, know your audience. If you feel that something you're selling and some as a seller, for example, I'm saying as a seller, you think that somebody's trying to buy it from you, and you have your doubts that somebody bought it, do check with them before you sell it, especially on expensive items, that do they think what they're buying is what they think it is. So say for example, you're selling I mean, computer can be complicated. That's why I always keep using the example of computers, because computers can be quite complicated, and a lot of other technical things that people buy can be complicated, where they think it's this but it's that, it's a version of this. I mean, a few months back I bought an Alienware monitor, and then it's a bit, but with one initial it changed the entire model of the you know, the monitor itself. Just one initial at the end of it. It's the same number, but the end, I think one said D and the other said a H or something, and it just, you know, threw me out, because I read all of it, and then at the end of it, it just like one digit was different, and it turns out to be, you know, slightly different to what I thought it was. But I mean, it's all good, you know, that wasn't a problem. But I'm just saying that, I mean, you know, those little mistakes, because the seller didn't put it down, and I thought it would be this, and I did contact the seller at the time, and the seller said that you're going to be very happy with what it is, and this, that, the other, but you know. But then again, you know, it wasn't those things that it was a huge piece of kit, and there's no point even thinking of returning it. It was good. It's, you know, at a good price, so you know, I'm not going to complain. But that's why I'm sharing it with you, that once you're buying something, make sure that it's fully working as well. Some people sell stuff which is dirty. You get it all mucky, and then you think, well, you know, I didn't see that in the photographs. Well, if you don't see the photographs on eBay, ask the seller to send you the photographs. Ask the seller to publish more photographs. You need to ask stuff. Unfortunately, this is the thing when you're buying on eBay, you got to communicate. Because if you're not communicating, you're not going to win a good item. So if you see that the item is really good detail, then that's fine. But if you think that item may be a bit sort of, you know, you want to see more pictures and you wish you could see more, but you're thinking, well, I'll receive it, then I'll think about it. Well, no, you're just causing yourself into problems. But you know, so that's one of those key things that you want to sort of, you know, make sure that when you're buying from eBay, that it's a safe and secure transaction, and PayPal is always there to back you up, and always see if they have a money back return policy as well. A lot of the item people sell, they might not have a return policy, so it's actually a no-brainer to ask them to return something when they've just said that we're not going to return it back. Which is the other reason is that if somebody's selling something and they say no returns, then it gives you more of a chance to ask the questions about the item and make sure that they know that yeah, they have asked everything before they bought it, which is the reason why they are now buying it, rather than buying it and then saying, well, you know what, I didn't think it would be this and this and this, and you know, I want to return it back, and the seller goes, no, I'm not going to take it, and then you go to eBay and try to open a case, and then it can end up in the seller's favor because they just said that we already stated that's no return. eBay can also do sometimes where they can, you know, you send that item back to the seller, and seller would be like, well, you know what, that's not what I said it was. I said exactly what it was, and eBay might not refund you the money as a buyer. So yeah, you got to be careful that way as well. So it's always good to do the homework from the very beginning of buying an item, even selling it. Make sure that you list it properly, and that really does help. And so I think that covers a lot of areas. If you feel that I have, I mean, I'm sure I can add a lot more bits to it right now, but I think I need to end this video right now and see what the feedback is like from these points that I've raised. And if there are anything or any concerns that anybody has that they have been through, I'm probably happy to talk about them, because I probably have touched those as well myself. I know a lot of friends who've bought stuff on eBay and they have had a lot of bad experiences, and I mean a lot of bad experiences. So they have taken a back step and said that we're not going to buy from eBay now because of this, that, the other. But you know, I particularly myself, I bought pretty much a car from eBay, bought a television from eBay, bought a computer from eBay, bought pretty much everything from eBay. I have bought everything from eBay, and I always do buy from eBay most of the time, because it's a good place to purchase stuff. Once again, as long as you know what you're buying. If you don't know what you're buying, then eBay is not a place for you, because it would just throw rubbish at you. You would just don't know what you're buying. You might get lucky. Sometimes you might think, well, I thought it was this, and it's somebody sent you something that you didn't like or whatever. And then you want to probably step into the Amazon world and buy stuff from Amazon, because Amazon sell mostly new goods. They have a pre-owned marketplace as well, but eBay is a lot more, sort of a king in that area, I would say, when it comes to pre-owned goods, and obviously new goods as well. And well, thanks for listening. Anyway, I hope this has been informative for most of you. And once again, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I have a lot of videos to upload, and I will be uploading them as time progresses. I have a lot more work to be done, but I just need to find the space and the time, two things I don't have at the moment. So fingers crossed, let's see. And thank you once again for watching, and hope you all the success. And until next time, bye for now.